Newer Super Mario Bros. Wii is full of creative, interesting and exciting worlds, so why not rank all 14 of them from worst to best? This list is based on how creative and original the world itself is, and the levels in the world are, how memorable the experience in the world is, and of course my opinions on it as well. So without further ado, let's get started. 14. Bombard Cliffs. I don't think there's any reason to not put this on the lowest spot on this list. Bombard Cliffs is a very short world consisting of only 3 levels, and that's probably the main reason for why it's the worst world in the game. The levels themselves, while definitely fun, are nothing really special, consisting of an auto-scroller and 2 relatively basic levels. There's no real unique gimmick to this world apart from the bomb pros and the bridges, and the creativity is also pretty minimal, and this world doesn't even have a proper ending level, so yeah. 13. Goldwood Forest, a beautiful autumn-themed world. This world only has 5 levels, which is 2 more than Bombard Cliffs, but the levels themselves aren't necessarily that much better. The only ones I really remember well are this one with a crap ton of honeycombs and this level with the falling chestnuts, which is actually a pretty fun level. However, the ending level is nothing really noteworthy, and all of the levels are pretty short as well. I'm not saying this world is bad at all, it's just not the best one. 12. Mini Mega Island. A great idea, but executed rather poorly. Don't get me wrong, there are some good levels in this world, but it's only a few. The ones that come to mind are this one with the huge Koopa shells, this one where you're constantly switching between a large and small landscape, and the fortress with a big mixture of large and tiny enemies throughout. The rest of the levels, while not bad, are just not really that memorable, and the levels I did mention, while good, don't do terribly much with its gimmicks to allow for a very creative experience. It's still a good time, but nothing overly special. 11. Sakura Village. A beautiful world with a very appealing color palette. This world is home to many Shy Guys, varying in color, size, and even abilities, like ones jumping around, walking back and forth, or even throwing spiked balls. Unfortunately, due to the very low concentration of enemy variety in this world, it makes the levels feel very repetitive and samey. And I feel quite bad for saying that, because this world looks like it has so much potential. Quite many levels feel pretty empty, and while some levels are still quite fun, there's also some levels that are just really forgettable. At least the boss is pretty cool, but he doesn't make up for the overall pretty bad shortcomings of this world. 10. Pumpkin Boneyard. A ghost-themed world in a Mario game has barely ever been seen before, so it's really nice to see one, especially in a 2D Mario game. But just like Sakura Village, or actually quite the opposite, this world doesn't really have enough potential for it to really be worthy of a world with 12 levels. The enemy selection you have for ghost-themed levels is quite small, and the gimmicks that are used aren't necessarily restricted to a ghost theme. It has some good levels here and there, but some of them do kind of feel like filler. If this world was a side world like worlds A through E, then it would have definitely been better, but as it is now, it's just relatively mediocre. 9. Yoshi's Island. The first world in the game, and also a pretty good one. This is the first world that I would say executes its theme rather well. It starts off at a beach level, which is strangely enough the only beach level in the entire game outside of the special world, and afterwards it rather smoothly transitions into a forest world. And of course you have Yoshi, who only appears in 2 levels, but he's a nice addition to the world nonetheless. Plus, there's also some really cool levels, like Switch Shift Grove or Cheap Crack Castle, that have really cool ideas executed in relatively simple ways. As a starter world, it functions quite well, but when compared to all other worlds in the game, it doesn't really stand out much. 8. Special World. The very last world in the game, and at that maybe a little bit underwhelming for the final world, but the levels are still very fun regardless. Red Lava, Brown Forest, Orange Prairie. You're definitely starting to see a theme here, right? Yep, the levels, or well, most of them, are color-coded after the colors of a rainbow, which is a very neat quality. Most of the levels are fairly enjoyable and follow their respective color quite well. None of the levels are really that difficult, which is quite a shame, especially since it's the very last world in the game, but the levels themselves do have really nice aesthetics. Overall, it's a pretty good world. 7. Crystal Caves. Holy goodness, this world looks absolutely stunning. The purple hue of the crystals and the pink shade made of the ground look incredibly gorgeous. Not only that, but the levels themselves are also quite fun. Bouncing on huge wigglers, riding gigantic buzzy beetles, and platforming across big crystals moving in very strange ways. The fortress level is maybe a little bit generic for this world, but it's still a fun level, with quite some creative star coin challenges. There's nothing really else to say about this world, since it's a very short world. It's quite a good one, especially delivering on the visual aspect of things. 6. Sky City. Whenever you hear that wonderfully happy song, you know you're up for a good time. Okay, well, apart from this level with the parabeetles, because Sky City sounds like it would be a pretty generic world, but that's definitely not the case. Instead of this world just being a sky-themed world, they also integrated a city theme into it, and it works really well. Most levels are extremely fun, the highlight of this world being Clockwork Tower, and even though I said the parabeetle level is really bad, to be honest, I was lying quite a bit there. It's just mostly difficulty that's the thing, and not necessarily the level design itself. Overall, it's a really good world with a very memorable theme. 5. Mushroom Peaks. A very unique looking world. And of course it also has the best level in the game, Fungi Pit. I mean, come on. Jokes aside, Mushroom Peaks actually has a very unique environment. A musty looking background, very dirty and hilly terrain, and some very strange looking fog. It also has some very fun levels, like Grimimal Mine, Butterwood Crossing, and the Castle and Airship stages. And of course this world introduces the Hammer Suit, probably the best power-up in the game besides the Propeller Suit. It's ridiculous how much it has improved since Mario Bros 3. Other than that though, this world is just fine. 4. Rubble Ruins / Soggy Sewers. A desert-themed world so high on the list? That's right. But Rubble Ruins isn't entirely a desert world, because there's also a sewer-themed sub-world throughout. I love these sewer-themed levels. For some reason they look really appealing, and the music is very soothing to listen to. The desert portion is also quite interesting. You got an Oasis level, a level with the infamous wind mechanic, a level with the angry sun, and one of the most interesting concepts for a castle level in Mario history. Bringing statues of enemies back to life is an incredibly cool concept that is executed quite well. The world is slightly too long for my taste, and levels like 2-5 and 2-9 are a bit fillery, but the rest of this world is definitely not bad at all. 3. Koopa Planet / Koopa Core. The infamous world of Bowser. And man, this world does not disappoint. The difficulty starts to ramp up quite a bit. The final Bowser level is a great one, consisting of 3 unique challenge rooms and what is probably one of the hardest boss battles in any Mario game, at least if you don't know what you're doing. The majority of the levels in this world are also just amazing. A level with a bunch of tanks? Check. A ridiculously fast auto-scrolling airship level? Yup. An underground train level? Sign me up for that. This world has so many creative levels, it's ridiculous. 2. Freezeflame Glacier / Freezeflame Volcano. A very solid reference to Freezeflame Galaxy from Super Mario Galaxy. This world looks like just your average snow world, but then you suddenly jump into the volcano and land in an entire underground section full of ice and lava. That's not to say the first half of the world is bad, because it isn't at all. Snow spikes from New Super Mario Bros. DS make a return. The auto-scrolling tower is somehow not as bad as it sounds, and the boss's concept is just incredible. Having to kill either Pyro or Cryo with the other's fireballs or ice balls makes for a very interesting boss fight. The execution is maybe a little bit too easy, but I still love it nonetheless. And the Freezeflame section of the world, while not as good level design wise, is so much better aesthetically, and has one of the best music pieces in the game. Overall, this world is surely a goodie. And 1 is Sky Mountain / Starry Skies. This world at first seems like your typical sky-themed world. The first 2 levels are nothing too out of the ordinary, but things already get very interesting when you reach Beanstalk Ascent. Definitely one of the best and most original levels in the game. And we haven't even reached the most interesting part of this world. That's right, you go to freaking space. Low gravity, beautiful scenery, and extremely soothing music, it's all there. The Star Haven levels are among some of my favorites from the whole game. They just look so gorgeous and peaceful, and the music is top notch, just like the rest of the world. Most of the levels are also extremely fun. So overall, World 7 or Starry Skies is definitely the best one in my opinion. But let me know what you think is the best world in New Super Mario Bros. Wii. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to my channel. I hope to see you in the next video, and as always, goodbye.